What's up, YouTube? Welcome to WordForge. My name's Kevin. I was sitting here attempting to record a video. This is still going to be that video because I want to discuss the other side of this unfortunate event, okay? While I was attempting to record this dropped about 15 minutes ago. I've kind of been sitting here trying to record this video, so that's why it now says an hour. Another allegation against Daniel Greene. This was from a handful days ago. I stand by my apology. I am so sorry to the SA survivors I have hurt, but I do not rescind that he pressured me into things we had agreed beforehand would not happen. Well, I was inebriated and he was not, which this factually is a lie. I don't know why she's continuing to lie. This clearly has been disproven.
There's that. I was like, there's going to be some allegations against him eventually. I was like, I know it's going to happen. I guess there's been more than one. You're not crazy. It wasn't just you, like, imagining things.
I really appreciate you reaching out.
Oh, that is something else I forgot to say. He absolutely had sex at his dad's house before. He would tell me about some of the times that he had sex at his dad's house. So I don't know if that.
What does that have to do with
like,
anything?
Oh, I was only there to visit my dad, so I wouldn't be having sex. Like, bullshit. He told me about the stuff that he did at his dad's place.
This is where common sense comes into play, ladies and gentlemen. We are all aware that this isn't anything new that a teenager would do, male or female. Me personally, I saw this and I was like, well, she sounds too happy. She doesn't really sound like somebody who had something tragic happen to her. In fact, to me, it sounds like she had consensual sex and, just like Naomi, regrets it after the word. Allegedly. I'm going to still say allegedly because we actually don't know if she actually ever met or knew Daniel Greene. This is the internet after all. You could be anyone you can get people to believe you are. Now, I'm actually done with this. We're not going to dive into this because this isn't the point originally of this video. I want to talk about mistakes because mistakes were made. Daniel Greene made a mistake. He cheated on Kayla. They've worked it out. I don't think we should hold it against him, and nobody should be holding it against her. You have to ask yourself, how petty are you to sit there and believe in this idea that a woman who is trying to fix and save their relationship, same with Daniel Greene, a consenting, adult here, both of them, and you're just like, oh, I don't like this happiness that they're trying to fix. It's massively petty, but the internet, as we know, if you've been on it for a while, can be massively petty. I've been on it for 30 years, okay? It was roughly, 1996, 1997, middle grade. School had the internet, and that was before they had massive security, so you could download games. I think the only thing you couldn't do was visit adult sites. That's the only kind of security they had at the time. But let's kind of jump into this. So I've seen people, like in the comments of this gentleman's apology video, kind of ridicule him, and they have the right to do that. I'm not here to say that you can't do it or shouldn't do it. You are your own person. But what I will say is mistakes were made on all kinds of sides of the book community side. People honestly looked at what evidence Naomi had and they were like, he's guilty. Close shut case. Now, I looked at it and that's not what I came away with. And there was other people that looked at it and that's not what they came away with. But we shouldn't judge other people based on like what I think. Yes, I did call them idiotic, and that's technically me judging booktubers, and everyone commented. But I think that's a reasonable assessment to make. And the thing about mistakes is a mistake is only good if you learn from it. You look at Naomi. What has she learned? Nothing. She's learned not a damn thing. She wants to continue to try to sell us this idea that she's sorry for victims, and yet she continues to perpetuate this idea that Daniel forced her to do things. When we know from her very first video that the police saying you consenting to it and regretting it afterwards is not what you think it is. So we, especially when it comes to her new video, take it with a grain of salt. Take what the individual in there is saying with a grain of salt. Because it could just be some random ass woman who wants attention. It could be someone that Daniel has met in the past, but maybe they had a bad breakup. I mean, there are logically things that we would not be able to know or could know. Plus, if you listen to the video itself, she sounds way too happy and energetic to sound like somebody who's a victim. Honestly, the conversation kind of sounded to me like two girls talking about the first time they had sex with a man, or technically a boy, because that's technically what Daniel Greene would have been at the time. But, I digress. Semantics, technicalities, okay? The greater point here is that, mistakes were made. Now, Merphy, I think probably out of all, she like most of these booktubers, they're owning up to the mistakes. She didn't do a video. In fact, I would say that's probably the biggest, plus 10 respect right there. She just kind of made a post and I unlisted his videos. And I seen some other YouTubers that actually kind of were mad at her for doing that. They're like, she's throwing him under the bus. I mean, they're friends. Why didn't she get a hold of him? And my first thought when I heard that, well, he's probably busy. She probably has. I mean, they've collaborated a lot. And from both their demeanor, I would also imagine that she's friends with Kayla as well. So it's like, I don't know why people were so quick to judge this. I mean, mistakes were made. She's owned up to it. And I would say in terms of any other booktuber, hers was pretty soft. I would say probably the best of what we could say the worst outcomes could have been. And this idea is that it shouldn't be about, well, you betrayed him, you're not a real friend. Mistakes were made. People make mistakes all the time. People do stupid shit all the time. Would you like an example? Here, I'll give you one. When I was 15 years old, I ran away from home. And I ran away from home by pretending to get kidnapped. I found magazines, newspapers, cut out a bunch of letters, because I saw it in a movie kind of thing. Made it, left. Like most people that ran away, got bored, eventually called my dad. He came, picked me up, and, well, ensues everything. Base point here is that what I told the police didn't match up. I never accused anyone of anything because obviously they didn't exist. But, they eventually wanted to talk to me. They're like, your story doesn't add up. You say this, but this is where we found all the evidence. And then I was like, all right, I just kind of ran away from home and pretended to get kidnapped. And that got me 1 year probation, 100 hours of community service. I had to write an apology letter to all 6 police officers involved, the dispatcher that took the call, both of my parents. And then you could also imagine that I got lectured from every friend and family whenever we went to their house. I was also grounded for a year, which was pretty much not really confined to my room, just the house. I was able to go to places like family gatherings and going over to friends' houses, but it was mostly sitting in the house and watching TV. Some of my parents' friends wouldn't even let me watch the TV. They would have me sitting on the floor, looking at a wall or something like that, And I got 5 billion lectures of how, what if a creepy guy or person would have found me, So people make mistakes. The whole iteration is that you learn from the mistakes. I look at Daniel, he cheated, he made a mistake. I look at, every booktuber, whether we're talking Merphy or what's the gentleman's other name, Jackson, and every other person out there that did a video, they made a mistake. Did they use common sense? No. Merphy even admits this. Did they critically think about the situation? Obviously they did not. But this isn't something that we should be vitriolic towards them. We shouldn't treat them like they initially treated Daniel Greene. And even how some people in the comments treated Daniel Greene, and especially how people treated Kayla in the comments. There's the old saying, be the bigger person. It's like, you can have your opinion, but if you're not going to subscribe to Daniel Greene because he cheated on Kayla, then you really don't need to write a comment. You can, but you just look like an idiot. It's rather childish, because objectively, it's none of your business. Mistakes were made everywhere concerning this situation. Mistakes are still being made. This is mostly from Naomi. She clearly hasn't learned anything. So, anyway, that's all I really have to say in relation to this. This is going to be the last video that I do in talking about this. I think the next video that I'm going to be doing is, I don't know if I'm going to record it today or I'm going to do it tomorrow, but I'm going to do, I haven't read them, but like judging books by their covers. I was going to discuss that kind of concept and what I like, what I don't like. I only have these two. I think he has a third book. I don't quite remember unless it hasn't come out yet, but I thought he was working on his fourth one. I don't know. If you know, you can update me in the comments. I'll probably Google it after I'm done, but yeah. So that kind of video. And then, of course, I want to do a video that kind of better introduces the channel, me, and what I plan on doing with it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video in some fashion or form. I guess I can say that because it's supposed to be kind of educational. And I hope you'll keep forging your own words and stories. Have a good one.